Hello there. Have you ever thought about the way people use language reflects where they came from, where they have been, and where they are now? Yes. The way people use speech in order to communicate with others reflects all that person past. So let's see a little bit about me, shall we? Welcome to my linguistic identity. Let's begin with where I came from. My name is Asbelmy Gutiérrez, and I'm from Caracas, Venezuela. And you probably will guess that if you hear me speaking in Spanish. Why? Because I tend to use some linguistic variations that are common from my city, Caracas. I'm going to give you some examples. In the case of nasal sounds, we tend to make more nasal sounds that are already nasal. In the case of San Juan, we tend to say San Juan. In the case of pan, we say pan. In the case of deleting, make weak, or just aspirate sounds that are inside words. For example, in the case of saying verdad, we say verdad. Or in the case of comer, we say comer. Also, and finally, we tend to lisp a lot. Another important aspect that you can notice according to how that person uses language is the social class that is related to that person. For example, in my case, you can notice that I grew up in a middle-high class because I tend to over-modulate when I speak. Also, you can notice my age. You can say that I'm not that young, but not that older, because I use phrases that were on TV in the 90s. For example, o sea, or amiga, that is from a TV show that was on in Venezuela in the 90s. So you can tell more or less what my age is. So far we know that I am from Caracas, that I'm in my 30s, almost 40s, that I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, and that I'm well educated because I tend to use all the grammar rules that the Spanish language has when I speak, write, or express myself in any way. So let's talk about what I have been and what I am now. If you hear me speaking in Spanish, you will notice that I have certain idioms that are not typically from Venezuela. For example, if you hear me saying, "Oye, pe," or "me puedes dar una palta," you will notice that I'm in the southeast part of South America, specifically in Peru. Yes, I've been living here in Peru for 5 years. So it's very common that I have added these new idioms to my daily vocabulary. Also, you can notice that I tend to avoid expressions like sube para arriba or baja para abajo because of my professional background. I'm an English teacher. I'm a teacher of languages. So I tend to avoid repetition, or I tend to follow grammatical rules in Spanish. Finally, if you hear me speaking in Spanish, you will notice that I have a tendency to fulfill all the grammatical rules that the Spanish language has. And also, I can choose whether informal language or formal language according to my audience. Maybe this is because I'm a teacher of languages and I know the rules and I know the context and I know how important all these things are in order to communicate properly. All these factors are studied by sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics analyzes all these social factors, this social environment in which a person or a group of people grew up, in order to explain how that person or that group of people choose how to use the language. Therefore, sociolinguistics has helped us develop a profile according to how I use my language. We can say where I came from, where I have been, and where I am right now, just to hear me how I use Spanish. Also, being an English student has helped me a lot to know, to follow, to know the world, and to add more cultural aspects that are not related to mine to enrich my vocabulary, to enrich my speech. Thank you very much for hearing me out. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Bye.